Well, Joel, you and I have shared many a cup of tea together.
And I love it. There's no party like a tea party with Kathie Donovan.
Oh, I feel the same way about you. However, it was nothing like the experience I had at Camellia House. Being at home means something different to each one of us. It might be your inspiring place of calm and peace at the end of a busy day, where your family congregates for a meal, or where you take pleasure in puttering in the garden. Rebecca Cragg's backyard is her sanctuary, where tranquility is nurtured. Her Zen garden is a tribute to the Japanese culture she admires deeply.
When we moved into this house, it was July, and the lawn had grown for quite a long time. The first and last time I ever mowed that lawn took me 5 hours, and I said to my husband, unless you're going to mow the lawn, we are going to put stone everywhere. So 11 tons of stone later, we've transformed it into a Zen garden space. Gardens don't have to be about lawns, and they also don't have to be about flowers, and it doesn't also have to be about work. If you think of a Zen garden as like a large sandbox and as a place where you can rake patterns, instead of building sandcastles, we use the symbolic ripples to represent things like waves or tides, or the idea that a single stone or a single drop radiating with a circle going around and around in a circle is representing the power of a single thought or drop, that it can overcome and it can wash over stone and mountains. And all of this comes from the Buddhist and Shinto symbology that is a big part of traditional dry stone landscaping.
Rebecca's life's work is sharing what she has learned about Japanese culture. Her business, Camellia Teas, is named after the camellia plant that produces much of the tea used in Japanese tea ceremony, a custom that dates back to 9th century Japan and even earlier in countries like China.
So, migi tenai, hirari yoko, migi yoko.
Graduating with a master's degree in cultural anthropology and later a Bachelor of Education, Rebecca taught English in Japan for 7 years, where she embraced the culture, learning about the way of tea. She connected with this way of life that resonated with her own principles. She opened herself to an environment of team values and working for the greater good instead of personal glory. She enjoyed Japanese hospitality, kindness, and calm, and she wanted to share it with others.
So when I came back to Canada in 2005, then I had the option of going into the school system and teaching English as a second language here. But I thought there were far fewer people involved in teaching something like tea ceremony or traditional flower arranging or brush painting or kimono dressing. So I thought maybe I could take a risk and try to start, in a sense, my own school, or an opportunity to give this opportunity to other people.
Rebecca refers to herself as a Japanese tea practitioner and continues her studies with teachers here in Ottawa.
Tea ceremony is more than simply just a practice of making tea. It's more than gastronomy. It involves architecture and the flower arranging, kimono, so many different aspects. So it's really truly a way of life. Because it involves so many different elements and so many different aspects, we study it for a lifetime, and there are always new things to learn all the time. And then reaching for the very bottom of the obi and then finding the place to put it.
Some aspects of tea ceremony have been adapted to modern customs. While guests are no longer expected to wear the traditional kimono, Rebecca's tea students are as eager to learn the art of kimono as she is to teach it.
Kimono dressing is very, very rare in Japan, and many fewer people are even aware that there's a competitive element to it. So I try to do that again with my students here, helping them appreciate the traditional textile, the perfection in how to wear it properly, to choose the right kimonos for the right occasions, but then at the same time, how to adjust the kimono for the Western body, because we're not all made like small Japanese women from the 1880s. So we've been adjusting and modifying the kimono so that it flatters and it suits, and so that these textiles live on. It turned out that my kimono teacher was one of the top national Olympic kimono judges in Japan by complete chance. I had no idea who she was even when I was taking lessons with her. And arrived at my lessons, and what normally takes a Japanese woman 45 minutes to do, I was being trained to do in 5 minutes. So this is literally bionic kimono speed. It's almost like a dance. I entered that world and I ended up going to nationals and competing nationally and meeting the head of our kimono school. And then by, again, chance, they came to Ottawa 3 weeks after I'd repatriated to Canada. And so I was able to join them in a parade and see them all again. So it was really quite something.
Tea ceremony touches many elements, from architecture in the tea room to textiles in the kimono and ceramic tea bowls that are an integral part of the ceremony.
I've been extremely blessed and fortunate over the years to acquire a very large collection of tea bowls. Some are tremendously valuable. Some are very simple and made by me or painted by a local artisan. But each tea bowl has a story, and part of what we do is we create a story for the guest when they come through the selection of the utensils. We also try to comfort the guest with the feeling of the season. So on a warm day, I'd like to serve a beautiful crystal or a nice glass bowl. In the wintertime, when it's very, very cold or chilly, the feeling of holding a thick-walled ceramic vessel would feel very nice. These are all the different ways that I use the collection.
Rebecca lives the way of tea in her home near Mooney's Bay in Ottawa. There is no television or radio in Camellia House. A computer helps her to organize classes and to stay connected to the world. She and her husband have modified their living space to allow for several tea rooms and an art gallery that doubles as a space to do ikebana, or Japanese flower arranging.
I think for anyone, when they make a decision to follow their path and to really live their passion on a day-to-day, hour-to-hour basis, it makes you live in congruency as much as possible with the truth of what it is you're trying to impart. And that's a tough thing to do. There are times when I want to eat pizza and sleep in and, wear a t-shirt and jeans and not a kimono and not have to worry about my hair and makeup. But really realizing that when you are representing these traditions, it means you have to behave a certain way and dress a certain way and just simply live the truth of what it is you're trying to offer. One of the other aspects of Japanese culture that I'm really interested in is brush painting. And when I was in Japan, I spent much of my time doing that and taking lessons twice a week with my teacher. It took me about maybe 5 years or so until I was allowed to make my original compositions. I think what it teaches is really an appreciation of nature and really to see and to be in touch with the seasons.
Rebecca organized fundraisers after the tsunami to benefit the people of Japan who were affected. She taught classes and donated the proceeds.
For me, the debt of gratitude that I had to my teachers and all the incredible things that I'd been given and the opportunities over the years, I could not sit and do nothing. I couldn't put food in my mouth and take a lingering bath when I thought of all the people and all the things that they're going through. So I was very motivated to do whatever I could.
To experience tea ceremony in kimono is a privilege, especially when it's in the tea room located in Rebecca's Serenity Garden. Before entering the tea room, guests purify their hands and mouth literally and metaphorically of deeds their hands may have committed or words they may have spoken. Entering the tea room means leaving the world at the door, embracing the moment, sharing the grace and beauty of a timeless tradition.
For me, the chanuyu, or the tea ceremony experience, is something that it gives people so much opportunity and creativity. They can experience something beautiful with art and a ritual, a moving ritual, where they go through that process of sharing quiet time with the host who exists in that moment simply to honor them and the art form. There are probably, some say, 3 to 5 million practitioners of tea around the world in 40 or 50 different tea schools. What I can do here, because it takes a lifetime to study tea, is really just stand at the doorway or stand at the foot of the bridge and open that door, open that gate, and invite people to cross into it for an hour or for a day or for a moment, and to taste an aspect of that ancient culture.
How could I not be happy in this incredible, incredible life? I'm so fortunate that I've been born into this life, into this place, and that I have the opportunity to share what I do with other people. It's truly, truly a gift, and I feel very blessed.